Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jarrett, and I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys like a G6 versus Froyotech. This is RGL Invite Season 9, Week 1B. It's a little bit late on that. We're catching up, don't you worry. But we got quite the game on our hands. We've seen these teams play against each other, maybe not too much when it comes to playoffs, but for sure in the regular season throughout the past couple seasons, and it's always been a treat to watch. And we're showing up again on Metalworks, which is a map that Froyotech and G6 have somewhat of a history on. I know it's been a map that was played all the way back to maybe like season 6 or something like that, maybe 7. I might be going back too far, but so far Froyotech have had the up and up on G6, so we'll see if G6 has anything in the tank this season to kind of change things around and bring them to the forefront and land them spot as, who knows, maybe even the number 1 seed if they work hard enough. How do you feel in Space?
I'm feeling pretty good, yeah. I was excited to cast Froyotech, and I think like a G6 is, I think they're, I think it's early on in the season, so I'm not expecting them to come out of the dull, but I think they should give us a good showing in terms of how they play Froyotech.
I think either way, it's going to be really interesting to just see more of a new roster. You want to see how well they stomp the teams that they should beat, and then the teams that are kind of difficult. It's going to give them a run for their money that they can at least put up some sort of performance and give us a sneak peek on what we might be seeing come playoffs. Although it's not guaranteed that even if these teams make playoffs that they would play each other for sure, but it's always good to just gauge everyone's skill level for both teams. In fact, we do have Froyotech as well, put a little bit more focus on their repeating champions coming in to try to make sure they get another clean. Probably, I would assume their goal is a regular season sweep, as they've done seasons before. And G6 would definitely be on the list of teams you have to win if you're going for a season sweep, with 0 matches lost. So, well, we'll see what both teams are bringing to the table here on Metal.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of surprised by the map pick. Not surprised, I guess, but I feel like it's been a hot minute since I have casted a Metalworks match. I feel like it's been kind of just banned out, at least recently.
I mean, probably depends on the team. It's not necessarily a map that's spammed in Pug, so there's a little bit of unfamiliarity to it. And when it comes to like knowing the ins and outs and being really comfortable as a team, I don't think it's. There's probably some teams that like don't even touch this map in the off season because they're going through like their tryout phase and stuff, so they want to get everyone comfortable on the staples and see what everyone's made of. Uh, but I think for both these teams, it's really interesting because Metalworks has landed in pretty much every scenario under the sun when it comes to one of the teams snatching it up, it being left like they're okay playing it, and then eventually gets picked or just completely ignored as like the map that doesn't get revealed onto the screen. And now
Yeah.
we're at a point where G6 is actually, they're taking it back and saying, even though previous seasons they've shied away from it where they haven't wanted to play against it, they've banned it out and or at least left it. But no, they're picking it this time around, and I'm kind of curious on how that's going to turn out. They've had a long while. I mean, the rosters have changed a bit, but they've had a long while where they play a core roster, Froyotech with their own core roster. It doesn't really work out that well. I think overall, the past 2 matches they've played on Metalworks versus Froyotech, dating back like 2 seasons ago, it took a bit, but we'll see what kind of changes. But speaking of the roster changes, it's probably important to make sure everyone is aware of the rosters that are being played in this match. Maybe you were late to the season, didn't really see who is on display for both these teams coming season 9, but I'll go ahead and go over the Froyotech roster. It is Banny and Jay on Scout, Marmalu and Mirman on Soldier, Habib on Demo, and May on Medic.
And for G6, we have Bot Mode, aka Bomo, on Scout, Caps on Scout, Soapy Meister on Soldier, Kobe 1920 on Soldier, Logan on Demo, and Zilly on Medic. And yeah, I gotta say, thinking back, you did mention that Froyotech and G6 have played each other on this map. Maybe not the same exact roster, but with the general core.
They got a core, yeah.
Yeah, enough of a core that people are familiar with it. And I will say, I feel like Metalworks is one of those maps you no matter what, you have an opinion on it in terms of like, I feel like Metalworks isn't a map where you're just like, meh, Metalworks, whatever. I feel like it's kind of a love it or hate it map. At least for certain classes, at least. I know as a scout player, this map can be kind of miserable, especially in a pug environment, but I don't know. I think Metalworks is. I'm not sure what strengths your team really wants to play to here.
It's kind of difficult to say for the most part because, I mean,
It's a
realistically,
rough scout map sometimes. I
yeah,
feel like Soldier has a really good time on this map, especially because there's a lot of really strong high bombs where you're just up in the skybox and scouts can't do anything about it.
it's rough because the classic, it can be really difficult for a class, but because it is like slanted in one direction towards a class, if you feel like that is your strength, you could go with the philosophy of like, oh well, if they don't have a very strong like team in this area where they need to excel, like maybe you don't respect their soldiers or don't respect their scouts or whatever the map is, you can be like, oh well, if you give their weakest players the hardest map, it's not going to end well for them. So let's just go with this, and our players are better, and they'll
Yeah,
make sure the holes are patched up. So kind of comes down to philosophy and how you kind of view that. Um,
definitely.
but that's why I think it was so interesting. Is because it's been a map that like G6 have banned out in the very beginning, and now it's gone all the way around to where they've like, no, they want to pick this out of the maps that are remaining.
Yeah, I mean, G6 did get the first bans, so at minimum they were okay with leaving it in, you know? Because
Mhm.
Froyotech got the last ban, so Froyotech really got to pick what map they wanted to play them on, whereas G6 kind of just got all the, like, oh, we can't play these maps out of the way. Like, they banned, look at the map ban, like, they banned Goalie, they banned Process, and they banned Sunshine. That's like 2 Pug maps and, like, a Scout map. Whereas Froyotech banned all the Boomer maps. They banned Badlands, and they banned Greenery, and then they got a Call map out of there. So, Froyotech actually left Product in the pool. So I guess between for G6, I guess it was between Koth or Metalworks, and they chose Metalworks.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad idea. Realistically, if I think if you're G6, you kind of understand at this point that you're definitely the underdogs going into this map.
And Product,
Um,
yeah, I feel like
and
that might be a little rough.
yeah, that can be really rough sometimes. So I mean, if there was any map that you were gonna say that you were gonna upset Froyotech on, I mean, I guess you could say it would be this.
Yeah,
Like, if you're
yeah,
G6 in their eyes, you
especially
like,
because the they had the experience on it. So I mean, maybe third time's the charm. They know what mistakes they made in the past, so they know, oh, we need to fix this. And maybe with their new roster, maybe we just feel better about this map.
yeah,
Or
but it's
yeah,
also you gotta give some credit to them because who knows, maybe they pick it because they played so much versus Froyotech in a match environment to like get an idea of what Froyotech's leading game plan is. They could actually come out of the gate with something really strong that
yeah,
kind of sets it apart and breathes a new life into the map for them to give them some success. And you don't even need to get that much success to get the ball rolling. And even if a match is going to be difficult, still getting rounds is really important as well. So just finding any form of success, whether it's overall match win or just getting a couple rounds, is going to be really important to make sure that G6, sets themselves as playoff secured or as early as possible. Always really nice to have a safety net, even if you've had multiple playoff appearances. So it's
yeah,
always an
definitely.
important thing. But I think my eyes are definitely going to be more towards them when it comes to like, all right, what's their game plan here rather than Froyotech. I feel like, especially because Froyotech, this is not their map pick, they're probably just gonna open with their classic, like the classic mids, classic last pushes. I don't expect serious like shenanigans or any like giant things that are new out of them unless they like start winning really hard or something or
Yeah,
losing really hard. But
yeah, against Froyo, especially this one, I feel like if G6 are going to have any success, they're going to have to win mids. Like, they're going to have to, like, they can't lose all the mids and win this match unless Froyotech has a bunch of miraculous crumbles. So I'm going to say that if G6 want to win this map, they have to feel really confident about these mids, or at least confident that they not going to hard wipe on these mids. And I guess Metalworks is one of those maps where I think if you really want the medic to die in this mid, you definitely, like, you can just full send for the medic, and I think you have a pretty reasonable shot of getting him. So maybe that might be factored into the calculations of, all right, it's not going to be like some of the other mids of the map. I feel like you can just get hard rolled and there's nothing you can do about it, but might be a little easier in this map.
and this is actually one of the maps where I think Froyotech actually has that in their pool of like mid strategies. A lot of the time, when you say that okay, our strategy for mid is to kill the medic and then get out, that's usually what you say if you're in like a losing position
Yeah,
and are like you need a last ditch effort to try to like quote unquote win mid, even though you don't actually win it, just to like
I want to
actually
not be on last.
you want to actually play the game and not be on last. But I think Froyotech actually does that even when like they have some other mid strategies that they could feel comfortable with, where they just have it's a delayed slightly, but delayed aggression enough to eliminate the medic out of the equation. May will peace out, and they'll roll with it from there. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they execute that because normally with a team like Froyotech who's in such a leading position in a lot of matches, you don't really get to see them do that style of mids where they just like, all right, let's sell it for the medic and peace out.
Yeah,
So we'll get to see how a team like G6 is able to deal with that. Now, if Zilly's going to be able to survive, or at least long enough to make it hard for Froyotech to get away with too much if they do go with that strategy.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely yeah. That is a good point. I never even considered that. Yeah, that's one of the things that you know it's a weird mid when even Froyotech is like they go into the mid just like, all right, let's get the mid. You know, I feel like Froyotech generally aim a little higher than that unless something weird happens in the mid and they're forced to do it. So yeah, that is a really good point. And I want to say also that this definitely is a map where like I both of us mentioned before that it's not the greatest. It's not a bad scout map by any means, but it's not really the greatest scout map. There's a lot of like it's kind of like Gully Wash in that there's a lot of just like kind of small buildings that soldiers can generally have a field day. Demos too, but
Indoors.
yeah. Speaking of demos, I think from my personal experience, and I don't know how you feel, but Metalworks mid might be the most stressful demo mid I have played. It's rough. I feel like I
depends on how you play it for sure. Because if you play it very non-committal, you're not too afraid because you can still like get some damage out. I think the way that Habib plays it is probably the most like the safest way to play it, but also be
Really?
efficient. Where he just ammo dumps from top left and then rotates through the house.
Is that actually what Habib does? I haven't really watched Habib on this mid.
Yeah, unless he needs to change something due to the state of like the way mid fights have been going, his default is he rolls out top left, ammo dumps into lower to like contribute and make things weak, and then he rotates through house, takes the pack a second time, or eats an arrow, whatever. But the demos that commit outside and stay outside 100% of the time, it can be stressful sometimes. There's the fast soldier bombs, there's the general spam coming your direction, there's the even
Soldiers just
bombing
skybox landing
potential.
on you is sad.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do there if they just land on your head. No surfing potential there, so yeah, it can be sometimes, but there's also ways around it. You just have to make sure you mold your playstyle to it. So I guess we'll see what's coming out of the gate. I think that kind of brings into question G6 because I already said I know what Habib's default is, but I'm not too sure about Logan and how G6 is going to structure their mid, especially with going through roster changes recently through the off season, especially since it's one of their soldiers, because that's a big thing to, you know.
It's their pocket, right?
Show,
Kobe's on pocket? Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, generally you can set the pace of the game, but even more so for mids, like how much delay your pocket gives for his bombs and what he actually jumps. If he's just going to carbon copy his roamer, or is he going to do a small amount of baiting to wait for a distraction, or is he going to, you know, try to help with combo related things to clean up? You know, there's a lot of different decisions that a pocket soldier could make and feels like they have the free will to kind of go with whatever. So I'm not really sure what G6 is going to bring to the tables for mids, so that's going to be exciting to see and how well it's going to stack up against delayed aggression for Froyotech, but probably not going to be too many, you know, mids until we kind of figure out what their game plan is. I don't think there's nothing super secret about Metalworks, so you can kind of just see everyone, you know, in front of each other.
Yeah, I think, I feel like the only time I really get surprised is someone just randomly pushes lower on mid, and you're just like, oh, there's just a guy there, and you're sad. Especially soldiers. Like, the soldiers waddling under Metalworks mid are... I have a little bit of trauma from that. Just, you walk up, you're just playing them in, and you eat a 112 rocket.
And even then, you could play in a... Like, if you're afraid of certain... Like, if you're afraid of someone lingering in your top left, you can avoid it, and just play on the right. If you're afraid of someone pushing through lower, you can play in a way where everyone's either far back or, like, already up on top of the high ground, so...
Yeah, or just pre-fire spam it.
Yeah, so... it kind of depends on what these teams are really anticipating. Like, I think we can have expectations for what we think's going to happen when it comes to like what teams are bringing to the mid fight, but at the end of the day, it comes to fusing your own game plan, like what you think your strengths are as a team, and then making small tweaks to make sure it can actually work versus what the other team is bringing to the table. So with all those variables, it's kind of hard to say exactly how things are going to go down. But the good news is we are under the 60-second mark for going live. Time to touch up a little bit on the scores. What do you think is going to be the final score for this match space?
I actually voted 5-0 Froyo, which is usually I give the losing team, or not the losing team, but I usually give the underdogs, like, you know, I give them a shot. I think, all right, you know, they're playing against Froyo, but they're good teams. These are all very good players, so I expect them to get just a round or two. I actually think that depending on how it goes here, I think we might see a Froyo roll. I'm not a believer, but I will be very happy if I'm wrong.
History has shown that Froyotech is pretty dominant on this map versus G6 in particular. I am going to throw G6 around purely because it was their map pick, and given the benefit of the doubt, they have some sort of plan, and that should lead to at least some success, but we'll see if that leads in how many rounds, if anywhere between 0 and 5, but we are going live into the first mid, Froyotech versus G6, and the demos have entered into the mid.
And both demos did elect to go top left, and you actually read it. You see literally ammo dumping into the door.
Immediately exploded.
Yeah, immediately, yeah. Logan already dead. Marbley's gonna trade out for that. As we do see both soldiers high bombing into there onto Mei. They do manage to get Mei, so we do have a lot of kills going here. But in the end, it's just Habib as the last survivor going to try to get. Oh, there's no way. Okay, I was a little worried there, but in the end, Froyo is gonna wipe. Whereas Zilly managed to live that double ball onto Mei, really created a really large distraction for everyone else to just walk forward.
That was a really good job by G6. They capitalized on the fact that Froyotech hadn't really departed yet. I'm kind of surprised how aggressive they were. After they got that demo kill, they knew they probably should have played slow because the only way that you win that fight with no demo is to play fast. You
just
expect aggression. But it still worked out for the side of G6, but they're trying to take two, hold on to it. They had a little bit of a skeleton team at the start, but the respawners have come and arrived.
Here comes the Uber, though.
Doorway. Yeah, Uber coming out, trying to chase down as many frags as possible. Habib will fall after Banny dies on the point as well. So overall, 2 picks, sacrificing 1. Jay on Sniper throughout this whole deal is getting pestered a bit by Caps, but will not quite land a shot to put either into the grave. But technically, after that Uber is expended, Mei does have the G6 wants to draw out the player advantage.
But the players have already spawned.
Shot into Mei. 1 missed rocket, so Mei's gonna live at least for now, but he's gonna be able to clean up Jay, and Marmlu's unable to capitalize on the fact that they're busting through the doorways. So much cap time, Zilly gets on it. Zilly gets the first round in favor of G6.
My prediction is already wrong. Let's go.
Yeah, they definitely had it. We gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. They picked this map for a reason, and it's worked out for now, but now the adjustments start to come in. Froyotech, usually for teams you'd say, you know, halftime adjustments is where it's at, but I'll see if anything changes immediately going off onto the second mid.
Yeah, I'm curious if that was just the courtesy round or if that was actually just like G6 reading Froyotech quite well. And you know, actually, I meant to say G6 5-0. I actually just mispronounced it.
It happens.
On that note, we are settling into our second mid here. Zilly gonna fall immediately, so not a great start there, as I believe Habib just sync spam piped him.
Yeah, so no medic on the field for the side of G6, and the initiation is coming in now. Kobe jumping behind, trying to get on to Mei, but not quite able to reach him. Logan gonna fall to Habib, and Froyotech, they're cleaning it out this time. Sophie coming in late, gets 1 rocket, but a little bit too late. Cat's gonna be able to get Marmlu, but no more. G6 have all wiped, and Froyotech only really needed to expend their soldiers for that endeavor, so they flipped things around. They took Zilly out of the equation really early, like we talked about in the pregame, and have maintained their Uber ad to not only take 2 for free, but have a good chance at, you know, getting around for themselves when they get to this last push coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to win mid when the enemy medic just basically explodes when he walks into mid. That was, you know, really unfortunate for Zilly. Sometimes it just happens. You just walk into mid and, like, the spam syncs up perfectly and you just back the respawn queue. So, we're going to settle into our last hold here as Froyo does have a pretty sizable advantage to work with, so they don't have to rush anything. They can take their time, see things, spam, you know. They have the luxury here of time.
You're popping through main. Sophie's actually up on the light.
He's in the funny
spot. He's on the light, but they do get the gun with this, ending the Uber over towards the bridge. They see him, he's knocked down, and it will immediately just melt. The heavy is on the field, so it's going to be a bit of a damage sink, eating some arrows, but the rest of G6 are dropping a little bit. Mirman will give up his life. There's a couple weak Froyotech members that might be a bit sketchy, but Marmley and Benny are on the cap, and no mobility to get to it to block it. So Froyotech take a slow and methodical push into last, kind of block Soapy from doing his high light play, and are able to get around on the board to tie it up 1-1.
Yeah, the light play definitely, Soapy felt like he had to drop down early because he got spotted, but they weren't pressuring the point, so he kind of dropped down and just, you know, sad, and unfortunately sent back to the respawn queue. So yeah, really quick turnaround from Froyotech, able, you know, after kind of disaster for first round, they really settled themselves up nicely for an equal disaster round. We do see a fast bomb onto Habib there, but Habib does manage to surf it out as Sophie is going to fall pretty much immediately. We also see Bombo and Hurt kind of caught in a scout view, and Bombo is going to fall as well, so 2 down immediately for G6, and I think that's going to signal the repush.
This was
run away.
A very, very cursed mid-fight for G6. Logan screws up his rollout, then Sophie's fast bomb gets him killed, and now they're just going to wipe Tamir, man.
Oh,
He's just completely
huge
behind
flank.
him, cutting them off. No saw, no fear, and able to get the last 2 kills on the G6 roster. So Froyotech didn't really have to give up a whole lot for that one. Gonna be able to get mid and 2, and they're already poking around. They want to see if they can spam on any gun or at least get a free kill on someone who might be overextending. They are poking around, but will eventually decide to back up and make sure they don't bite off more than they can chew. Already have an advantage to work with, don't need to get too much more of a new one, but do the sniper on the field and the gun being built up right now for the side of G6, so they do have some defenses to their name, but the gun has to get built up fast because Froyotech, they're looking like they want to get ready to go ahead and push through main once again, do the same movers last time.
They know it's coming. They were preemptively spamming it, so they're gonna bomb this one. Sentry gonna fall pretty much immediately. We do see both G6 soldiers just trying to jump around and preserve their lives. As we don't see any point pressure yet, but there's a bomb onto Zilly, though. Mirrorman is gonna fall, Marble gonna fall as well. But finally, we do have the Froyotech kills rolling in, but Froyotech down 2 soldiers. They're gonna regroup a bit and try to repush through main.
Yeah, that pick onto Zilly caught himself on the floor, and Habib catching that was going to be huge for this
And
raid
he's
push.
so hurt.
Wouldn't have happened otherwise. G6 would have had an Uber, and after a clutch play from the side of Froyotech, they're able to make sure this raid push works out in their favor, 2-1 in favor of Froyotech.
All right, yeah, that push was a little bit better from G6 in terms of their defense. Like, they had the damage, honestly, but May did
It was just the end.
Yeah, May did a really good job of keeping people alive, because Habib, like, he took like 400 damage at the end there, but he was just getting tanked, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. So, new mid, new you. We'll see what G6 is able to bring this time. Last time, last mid was such a wash. They barely really got to play
Every
that
mid's
mid.
been a wash for one team.
Yeah, someone immediately explodes. We'll see if that happens this time around.
Bot
Got
mode
a
eats
lot
a
of weak
fight.
players. Bot mode, he's playing with the knife's edge right now. He will eventually get out and survive, but Banny putting the pressure on. High bomb from Marmalou off the space, being created over on
A lot of hurt
Brazilian.
G6 players.
Logan's going to be the first one to fall. Going to be a bit slow, but yeah, G6's health is not too great. Froyotech's having to give up some health to make sure they take positioning though, so G6 maybe the poke around. They don't have a dome man, which is going to be pretty hurtful for them, and yeah, I think they realize that with a high ground that Froyotech has, no dome man to their name, there's no way they're actually winning this. Gonna go ahead and play it safe, go back to 2, cut their losses, and at least take solace in the fact they have an Uber to work with.
Yeah, and here comes the Froyotech. They already want to go Valley before Logan gets a chance to set up his traps. Logan is going to arrive here. He's going to get a boost. He's going to be able to fight this, but Sophie going to trade, but they're actually going to set 2 for this. It's actually a 2 for 2, so Froyotech going to keep fighting this. Zilly really hurt as well, so he might have to pop if they want to fight this, and Zilly's just alone in Valley. Or Lobby, I mean.
And had to go ahead and get a pill. Kind of afraid of the spam. One more pill and he could die.
Oh, they
but
get May drop?
It's Logan that hits the pill onto May. May had a little bit of no respect for Logan. Think, no, he's not going to hit that. I can walk up. But see, his metagun is literally on the point. He died on the point. That's very, very deep to not use your Uber. He must have been intending to use it very soon, and that was just really bad luck. But either way, good plays on the side of G6. That was looking like they were about to full-on lose that, but they've clutched it up. Good play from Logan. They've maintained their Uber after Zilly was so hurt for so long, taking mid for free, and they're going to have a Marmalou pick to go ahead and try to maybe even not use the Uber to take 2.
We do have Jay on Sniper, so he
the bandy gun.
Oh wait, we have the bandy gun and
Oh,
the Jay
no.
Sniper. They're bringing out all the tech here. I think Sophie's
That's gonna
preemptively
screw
spamming it.
someone
I think
over.
he knows.
That
Dude,
gun's gonna screw
I don't know
someone
if they
over.
spotted it. Okay, now they spotted it.
Oh, Soapy flew past it, but he flew past into one of Habib's pipes. But Post-Uber over on the right side lobby for the side of
May
G6,
might be
but Logan
Oh wait,
dies.
this is huge.
May, very weak. He's the one that actually got that kill on the Logan, but still
This
trying
is a
to
collapse.
barely survive. But Caps goes in, able to secure the kill, and maybe Habib as well. He's only 100 HP, might get pistoled down or chased, but Caps got to get some health. It's going to buy time for Habib to go ahead and back up. But overall, G6 victorious in this push, and they're actually poking around, trying to use
And they
the
want to
fact
kill
that they have
Habib
extra
before this
space
push
to, yeah.
starts.
Oh,
look
immediately
at
melted, though.
He's gonna get synced. And Zilly might be caught out here. He's in the worst part of the map if you want to surf away. Is Zilly gonna be able to live?
Too solo.
He's still alive.
Play. How
He's
is
still
he
alive.
still alive though? They're dying
Wait,
for him. Zilly
Zilly's
gets
in-
one. How did
Zilly's so good.
And he's still alive.
No.
Mirman jumps in. Okay, no, Mirman barely gets him with the fadeaway, but is it enough? Logan's around.
they get May.
They get May off
They
the confusion.
salvaged it.
That's something. That could have been. That went from like good to bad to good to bad so quickly.
Yeah, Zilly, honestly, even though he died at the end, that was so impactful.
So much
that
time.
he lived for so long. They were able to get May off of it, and that really salvaged them. Froyotech they don't even feel comfortable fighting second. This is just gonna settle into like a very small Uber ad last push, more than likely, or just a stalemate. And that's actually one thing I wanted to bring up that I didn't have the time to in the pregame is that I'm interested to see how the 5-minute round timer interacts with Metalworks Slash, because I feel like I've seen some long stalemates on this last.
Yeah, it can be difficult sometimes depending on how a team is holding, because I think the big thing is you can get an idea of how to push last if you can see it. Metalworks last is really hard to look into, to like see exactly where stuff is, to make like a heat of the moment call on like when things should happen or like what doors you should push through. So you kind of have to go blindly, and most people don't really want to do that, especially when you have like 9 minutes, 10 minutes. They're like, oh, let's see if we can like take a peek and see what's up. But not so much time this time around with a 5-minute round timer, so might just have to go ahead and figure it out to the best of your ability and go for it and see what happens. Do
Yeah,
have a
we
level 2 under the bridge.
Jay
That is
Sniper
something.
as well. So he's actually unscoped here, just trying to spot, see where things are. They're actually gonna peek up now. Now that they know they have Uber, they can peek up and buy some time. So they actually just elect the sack here. So I don't know if they just didn't care. Oh, there goes Caps and Sophie.
Just a traditional 2-man, but the gun is in a pretty good spot to make sure that that was shut down really quickly. So Kobe, he's gonna get caught out maybe. One piece of spam, 12
he's so
HP in
hurt.
the air. He does not live through it. One missed arrow, not gonna be enough to save him. And with 3 players being the sack, Marmo's just in,
Oh, bomb mode.
and he gets.
Oh, he
my
gets
God,
nuked.
Bomb mode got deleted, and now Zilly's just alone. Marmol is not going to be able to quite chase, but still. Oh, never mind. He heard me. He's going for it. Silly, giving him the jukes. Only one rocket off, but overall, still a really good play to basically make sure that 2 was even more free than it was initially going to be, but Jay seals the deal, just peeks in the house and shoots Zilly looking through the doorway, and that's going to be a drop.
Yeah, we have bot mode on Spy already, so bot mode trying to get the espionage. I hope he stabs Jay just for the meme, but we'll have to see what he wants to do. But yeah, that's... The Marmalade play initially didn't look like it worked, but really it just created such a distraction that Jay is able to keep for free because everyone had to turn around to shoot Marmalade.
Yeah, Marmalade's
he's crab walking.
Hey, you gotta maintain your cloak, you know? You don't want to accidentally run out of it. But he's getting in a good position where he could decloak at any moment. He's poising for it. I'm just watching him. He's going for it.
Wait, they know. No, they called Spy and comms, and he gets signed. No.
Well, that's a Spy plane down the drain. The two of us Uber to work with. They've caught Kobe. Marmalade give us up his life for it, but Sophie's gonna die as well. And overall, this chase is... Oh, Cap stuck in the doorway. Might die to scatter. Are they just gonna use? No, they're yeah, okay, they are just gonna use, but a little bit too much of a delay. G6 are hot in their heels, trying to escape. But Logan taking some damage.
Oh, he gets stuck on the wall.
Into the sheet metal. Fanny's able to secure the kill, and Logan will not be able to be part of this Uber unless they wait a long while. They do have some forwards, people, though. They have a heavy and a soldier in the forward, so they have to split their attention to the shutter and actually the other. They're both shutters. So Fanny will die in the retreat, and this Uber is available for the side of G6, but no Demoman. So we'll see how they decide to take it with the sniper still in the field.
I actually have a hot opinion. I don't think Sniper should cap. People always say Sniper should cap. I hate that.
It just locks down the dome, and he has to spawn camp one shutter and can't look at the other.
Yeah, the Sniper can roll out and see everything, whereas you leave a Scout, like the Sniper can be impactful to more cross command. But that's also, I am also a sneaky Sniper main, so, you know, my opinion shall be taken for granted. As we do see Kobe falling on the back end there from an air pipe from PUBG, but we still do have 30% ad to work with here. We're going to have to see what they want to do. They're already down a player, so let's make this push into second a little more difficult. They have to clear for deep stickies. They just got more things to work with, and one less player to do it with.
Well, Mirror Man's in. Only gets one rocket off, though. I didn't think they were really ready. Froyotech had some players rolling out, so it made the defense pretty light, but they're still showing some presence. They know they're only 5% away, and despite being down a person, this could be a very, very good exchange if they time it right and buy time for Mirror Man's respawners, and that's what they're doing. They notice that Logan and Zilly aren't connected with the beam, just two-shot him. Another two-shot, another two-shot, hello? The disrespect from G6 thinking the Bandy can't hit the shots and he's on a 4K before he dies and gets killed by Soapymeister. But that's all they're going to get. Kobe's trying to go for a second frag in this fight, but G6 will not be so lucky. Bandy putting the team on his back for just a small moment to say no. This point is ours, and mid is going to be ours as well.
That's one we're going to see on the YouTube clip at some point for Bandy. That was just a... I don't know. There's a lot of words you can say.
Someone
meat grinder.
Beater. Someone called beater.
Yeah, someone called beater. That's meat grinder, lawnmower, whatever words you want to use. But Bandy was just holding W and hitting every shot. You know, very Clockwork-esque. Is not good if you're G6. You know, you're down 50% Uber at it. And Froyotech. Oh, well, that's a good start. Is Habib finding the trap with his face.
Yeah, it says period in chat. Yeah, that's where the chat. Guys, I found the trap. So, no Demoman available for Froyotech if they want to take this Uber right now. And G6 is actually on the move. They've actually put Kobe through, I guess it was Ali or lower, I don't know. Either way, he tried to go for a sack, but was not able to be too successful there. So overall, 1-for-1 at the end of the day, but spot maybe G6 a little bit of time. They're at 80%. They could rotate around if things actually went in really deep in Marmalade. Trying to make some space. Jay's going to clean up bot mode. So that is something for the side of Froyotech to continue to work with as things even out. Jay popped up into the air, taking full damage, 3 HP, still barely alive, but Mirror Man and Marmalade are going to work together, get this force. Zilly popped into the air, unable to really chase. May is unafraid and just holding on to his Uber as no one's actually able to chase down and reach them without falling to their death. Sophie's going to be the first one to do that, and Kobe as well. They're starting to fall like dominoes, and they're just trying to make sure this Uber comes out, but they're going to use it on their own volition if they don't wait too long enough. Logan is going to fall. The fight's moved over to lobby. Jay collecting 2 kills, and yeah, it's just Caps really that's able to do anything, and he's not going to find too much luck there. Jay taking a turn to get the 5K now, and this is looking like a free round for Froyotech.
True, but they're going to get 5 spawners here, but they don't have anyone to fight the point. The 2 soldiers just arrived. Here's the Uber, and yeah, Kobe going to fall. They're just all AFK on the point. Well, they're all getting Ubered. That might...
May? Okay, that was...
May almost
sketchy for like half a second. He was flashing people that didn't need to be flashed, and they were just capping, but probably just a misclick. But it still works out. Overall, half goes in favor of Froyotech.
So your prediction might still be accurate, you know. But G6 did get that initial first round before, you know, the wheels kind of fell off. Although that last round was a lot more promising. It was very back and forth, and I feel like it was actually Froyotech who had to kind of make some miracle plays too, in fact, for, you know, to really win that round. I gotta say, I
Yeah,
think G6 I felt like was kind of winning that up until like some really unfortunate drops from Zilly. That like the first one I don't think that's his fault at all. The second one you can argue, but I don't I don't think he expected Vanny to just be the best player of all time.
there's a little bit back and forth, at least some
Yeah.
effort was put in. So there's some promise from the side of G6, but it flipped around really quickly, and that's why after that first round, I immediately said Froyotech halftime adjustment is not halftime, it's mid round, and they definitely turned up and made sure that everything was flipped around after that. They lost the first one. So looking at the stats, you can see that
Habib
Beep
had a
kind
good
of
time.
yeah, had a good time on Doma. You said it was going to be a stressful map, but not so much if you're in the driver's seat and your team's leading. He's leading in the frags and the DPM for the entire server, so definitely helps. That probably helps a bit if your team's getting the Ubers and the other team isn't. It's not too much
That
pressure
does
onto
tend to
you,
help.
but still a good performance overall.
I like how everything I said about the scout like soldier thing, which is very wrong. Soapy and Kobe having very sad soldier stat lines, which makes sense if you're Metalworks and losing. I think it can't happen where you just have to basically die over and over again for your team to function, and I think that's kind of what's happening. I don't think it's them necessarily playing bad. It's either like, oh, we lost mid, oh, we lost on last, and then that one round where they just they only really realistically had one round that wasn't just like a mid and a last fight.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, a lot of these fights are because you go back to like how many times things went awry for G6, or maybe even vice versa, uh, just barely. Uh, it kind of ends the fight so quickly that all a soldier can do to contribute is just go die, just like right
Yeah,
then go die.
yeah,
So it can kind of make your stats look not too great because you are probably jumping into a meat grinder and are being a sacrificial lamb for the rest of your team right at that moment. No, there's no like prolonged fake bomb or anything like that where you can maybe get off some sort of bigger play because the pace is kind of forced at that point. But at least the scouts that are the scouts on Froyotech are seeming to be pretty happy. And Caps, I mean, he's having a time. He's able to take at least a couple Ubers that are still there and lead the frags for his team.
yeah. True. Yeah, Cap's still doing the best he can, and he actually is top damaging for D6 by a pretty significant margin aside from Logan. So Cap's having a good game, uh, at the minimum. And I definitely think that G6. I think they have it in them really. Like I don't think that one round you could argue is fluky, but I think the fact that the one round that wasn't a mid to last roll was kind of back and forth. Froyo being on last, G6 being on last. I think it goes to show that G6 they have it in them to fight Froyotech and contest them. They just gotta have some things break their way and put all the pieces in the right place. And I think they actually can get some rounds here.
Yeah, it seems like Froyotech is just doing a very good job at capitalizing on the little mistakes that G6 makes. And
Yeah,
as long as they clean that up, then they can put themselves back on the board and have a repeat of what the first round was like. But then again, it's like the classic, oh, you can fix up all the transitions and fights and making sure that like you keep players alive and stuff all you want, but you have to survive through the mid fight. You don't get to practice pushing two or like holding mid if you just lose the mid fight and wipe. So everyone's gonna have to go through that first. And now that we're at the halftime adjustment where you can really talk about like what you want to change, and you actually got a good peek at what the other team is bringing to the table in terms of the how the mid fights had someone explode so quickly. And like every single one of the fights, spare one of them, I think.
yeah,
Kind of curious on the adjustments teams are going to make, and if that's going to prevent any of the teams from really getting to enact any other changes.
yeah. I feel
You
like
can't fix up your lasts or your holds or anything if you can't get through the mid.
yeah. I feel like for sure, it's like he kind of already made the adjustments. So I think the ball's really in G6's court to see what they can do here to get some rounds on the board, and then it's back on Froyotech to I guess counter adjust. So we'll have to see how these kind of mind games play out, but yeah, I don't know. I really feel like these Metalworks mids have been so very snowbally. I feel like I know Metalworks is. I don't know. Would you really consider Metalworks to be a snowball map?
It can be over before it begins.
Yeah,
Like if you walk out and then someone just eats too much spam, it's over. Like as long as the team is intending to play aggressive already, like they arrive and are like wanting to bomb in, and that spam happens and the bomb's already happening, then you're kind of like you're set. Really, the other team's pretty much screwed. Like unless you screw up, which technically can't happen. Like if you whiff or the timing is off or whatever. But um, we saw that a couple times where
yeah. We saw
like
like the second or third mids. Like so, I think Logan or Soapy, someone just like
one time,
vaporized.
one time Logan immediately exploded. One time Soapy immediately exploded. One time Zilly immediately exploded.
Yeah, everyone's taking turns. Next is
Except the
Okay.
first mid. The first mid was good for them, but
Yeah, first mid was good for them. That's because I think, and actually even the first mid Logan vaporized, but it still worked out for them because they all just held W simultaneously.
actually that is true. The first mid Logan did vaporize, and they
Yeah,
capitalized on.
they just
like,
all held
this-
W.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I guess the strat just hold W. You know, just walk at them. Well,
Sure. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's going to be kind of up to them. Because you could just be like, yeah, okay, someone's going to die immediately, so let's just try to go in and make sure we play this faster. You can, I guess technically it could be harder to, like, have someone explode if the team is just overall playing slightly further back and more passive. But
Yeah.
that might just give up so much space, then you could, you can just make an adjustment for the side of Froyotech, being like, okay, well, if they're just going to sit in Valley, for example, I think that's a classic. Like, teams will explode on mids, and they'll do the classic, like, all right, let's roll out backdoor. And they'll, like, all start in the Valley, right?
Yeah.
And then the team that is playing against that too many times will eventually just say, okay, well, just don't bomb into them, just hold high ground and
Yeah,
don't
just
let
stand
them,
and shoot down at them.
Don't let them back in. Like, if they
Yeah.
want to get back in, they have to send their soldiers into a meat grinder. So there's still adjustments to be made, and I don't think there's a eureka, like, oh, just change this and you're fine. There'll need to be constant changes for mid fights to make sure that you're always on the up and up. And so far, Froyotech are kind of leading the charge with, like you said, with the not even halftime adjustments, but just in the middle of the game. So even if G6 make an adjustment here to, like, put the ball back in their court for the mid fights, they're probably gonna have to make another change again after a couple rounds.
Yeah, I mean that's Froyotech's specialty. Really is. I feel like this point the two of us have seen it time and time again where one team kind of has the upper edge on Froyo in terms of they're contesting and doing things. And then just like that, Froyotech does something different, and it immediately just goes back to Froyotech, and it doesn't really change that much. I feel like Froyotech are so uncontested in terms of just being able to the fluidity of their strats. They can just change what they're doing on the fly, and it just works.
And the difficulty is, as we go live, is G6, I mean, they could flip things around and do really, really well, but you have a round deficit to work against now. You can't let Froyotech get 2 rounds or it's over, but we'll see how many rounds transpire across this half, as we are live in the second half between Froyotech and G6. Both Domen have arrived to mid, and the rest of the team coming in tow as well. No fast soldiers, but maybe a fast soldier bomb coming from Soapy. A little bit of a fadeaway, some room for Kobe to make some room for his team as well, and actually bomb from Marmlu onto Zilly. Zilly did not see that coming at all, unable to circuit whatsoever, so gonna give up his life for that one, and now the chase is on for the side of G6. They actually see that, yeah, May was already so far gone towards the ramp and alley that they didn't actually want to commit. So just getting some cap time, but Froyotech starting to peek their heads once again, trying to lock down the doors, G6, and maybe the timing is now.
Cap.
Kobe bombs in, it looks like he might actually commit, tries to go on to Banny, a little bit of a solo
really
bomb,
hurt.
but ends up just jumping into the meat grinder. Soapy dying to Jay, the pistol, and they've got this cap, but they've really lost the mid, G6.
Yeah, and they also, Soapy and Kobe run the same spawn wave, and they got 19-second respawns. They got really unfortunate spawn RNG, so they're not even going to get forwards. They're going to be straight up out of this fight.
Yeah, there's no way that G6 can actually hold on to this. They're just here for maybe a Logan trap or something, but not going to find too much luck there. But the chase is on. They've put a lot of damage onto Logan, and actually might be going for one of the scouts. Their attention split a little bit. Habib went for the medic, but Banny chased around in the lobbies. That's going to actually lead to no post-Uber kills up until now when the soldiers bomb in, but they've given a whole lot for it. The split attention for Froyotech, not focused fire. It's giving G6 a breath of life. Yeah, they did get May, and Jay, last one left alive, and it was pretty ambitious for the side of Froyotech. I mean, it was not a bad call, but they just did not focus fire. And
Jay's
G6,
hiding in a corner.
Yeah, they're going to have to deal with the hiding Jay, but overall, last is still theirs.
Oh, he changed corners. Oh, very exciting stuff. Actually, Froyotech want to refight this, just looking at their... But maybe not. I think they're distracting for Jay. That's my assumption. Well, Jay got spotted, and Soapy is able to trade out. But, not the ideal, but I'll trade a soldier for Jay.
They could just try if they don't think G6 is going to expect it. No one spotted lower, really, I don't think.
Yeah. They're down a soldier, so that's one less high bomb to deal with.
True.
Oh, Logan,
yeah,
Logan gets rolled by Marmlu. Just straight up sent back to the respawn queue. And Marmlu doesn't even die for it. Botwood's going to follow a pipe, and on that note, G6 immediately loses 2 just off of a dry fight. 3, actually.
That's very good from Froyotech. Like, just taking the dry fight based on the fact that, I wonder if they don't see us, and they definitely didn't. There was no way that G6 was actually prepared for what was coming, and they kind of paid the price for it. Logan immediately melting is going to spell disaster, but Habib dying later on.
Soapy's just killing people with spam.
It's going to be great. Was it just spam across?
It was literally spam.
That's going to make it easier for them to push out without even needing to use. This ad is going to not be expended and just retaking 2 for free.
Yeah. Habib, I heard from Habib was just waddling into the rocket. Very unfortunate.
It's very on brand.
Oh yeah, that is I feel like Habib has a little derby moments every once in a while. And on that note, G6 are able to salvage that situation, kind of a really unfortunate situation, into a second hold. I think you take those if you're G6.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best you could really expect, like, realistically. So, gonna be up to Froyotech to try to see if they can break this, and G6 holding on for dear life, making sure that this match is still within their hands. Poking around Froyotech in through lower to just kind of see how they're holding and see if there's any separation they can really go for. Soapy trying to find an opening on to May, who is able to get in and get that force, so good job from Soapy seeing that opportunity. Gonna give up a couple for it, and yeah, they actually find a hole as well to make sure Zilly uses in-kind out on his own too, so overall tons of holes all over the map for a lot of the teams to get through. Soapy almost just b-hopped Spoon into May, but May is able to clean up that kill, but Froyotech want to fight this.
Oh, Banny really hurt. Habib really hurt as well. Sick from May, but they do manage to trade out Habib. Banny's gonna get traded out as well. Mirrorman's behind here, so that's the... Oh, okay. Is Marble gonna be able to get Zilly? He is! Just barely. Now... Oh, wait. Okay, I was gonna say, if he gets through there, that's crazy, but... Froyotech do manage to get up, and now they have Uber out to work with because of that really late death onto Zilly. They actually still want to fight
Logan.
mid.
Yeah, Logan's just dead.
Yeah,
they have the respawners in their advantage, so there's definitely props to them for going for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and they got the point. Bombard's on sniper, so he knows the situation that they really this Uber ad could quickly turn into losing the round if they're able to get into second without using.
Yeah, it had one off-classing chance outside of last and didn't really work out well for him, so trying to get some revenge and going for it this time, but is barely able to get any positioning here. The shutter isn't able to stay open, and yeah, has to go ahead and back up, make sure he doesn't get caught in case they go ahead and use. They don't have quite yet, but he doesn't necessarily know that, so playing safe, backing up, getting ready for last. There is no gun up is the thing. Because they went for that greedy sniper play and bot mode is their resident engineer player, it's not up. It's barely level 1 still
it's
building.
The secret
bomb
level
comes
1.
in from the side of Habib. Gonna be able to get some damage onto Zilly and then take down the gun. Not tons of positioning for the side of G6 as Habib
massive bomb from Marble.
They get Zilly and they're giving a couple, but G6 has kind of been wiped at least a little bit. Logan able to kill up Jay, and 3v3 is the post-super scenario, but May so weak. Gonna fall same with Banny, and oh my god, 2 rockets from Mirrorman cleaning up, or 1 rocket cleaning up 2, but bot mode, last one left alive.
Yeah, but you actually might see some bot mode versus Habib MG, depending on how Habib is feeling right now. Habib gonna sneak himself off and just try to spam, you know. Make bot mode. Don't let bot mode take this for free. And bot mode definitely doesn't want any part of that because he realized the cavalry is coming in. Yep. Gonna back to last, and you know. G6 do live to fight another day, but this feels like one of those rounds where Froyotech, they're just gonna, you know, Froyotech's not gonna let G6 off of their second. Realistically, I feel like it's gonna take some lucky play breaking their way, or just a really good last hold for Froyotech. I feel like they get backed up into mid.
Well, the good news for G6 is they don't have to hold it for so long, considering the changes. So Froyotech does have a timer to work against here, and they don't have their Uber yet, so timer, it's still being burnt off the clock. They're probably not going to go in unless they really see something nice, like maybe the gun dies and they want to go while it's dead, would be maybe the one thing, but otherwise they're waiting for their Uber as a buffer in case they need to use it. But it's going to come to the equation now, so whatever information they've gathered and seen, they can go ahead and start to use. Jay peeking around as well to make sure everything's all updated, and now they have, and now they're going. Really
oh, that
surfing away. Level 1's doing the best it can, it's able to get the 1, but overall just going to be a one-man sack. Really Jay just barely escaping, and Soapy, he's actually going to die. Banny finds him alone and is still lingering around. Mirrorman through the shutter, catches them out, maybe killing Logan, and they caught them with their pants down. They were not expecting them to bust through shutter. And now with no down, and there's corner peeking that's getting the gun down for free.
Jay might feed though. Okay, they do manage to get Jay, so even though they're down 3, they do get the salvage. Are they going to be able to force this Uber? They do force this Uber. The Froyotech Uber is a bit better here. It's like, if they can dodge that bolt, they may have a chance, but Habib's alive, and he looks like Habib might be in a prime position here. Soapy going to get immediately nuked at a spawn door. And this is looking pretty good for Froyotech. Yeah, can the respawners get here in time? Marblu's on the point. He's going to get a bunch of rockets on his Zilly. They do get Zilly, and it's just... yeah, that's a Froyo round.
That was a really good play from Froyotech. So they didn't, like, most of the time when you would sack, you would immediately just, all right, peace out, let's go outside, the sack's over. But they lingered in lobby, just especially because Jay was still alive and found not only the free Soapy kill, but they just noticed that because Logan was staring at them, he wasn't looking at Shutter. Mirrorman just popped through and able to make sure tons of damage happened, kill Logan, gets the gun early before the Uber even comes out of the equation, and Froyotech are trying to lock things down and make sure that this match is theirs, 1 round away.
Yeah, definitely a Froyotech so far have established themselves, other than that first initial kind of oops round. They're looking pretty good. As Logan gonna fall approach immediately, Jay just walked into the enemy lobby right away and he got 2 kills and he's still going! Okay, I was gonna say, if Jay gets that 3rd one, that's horrific, but Jay just literally walked at Logan and got like a 2K.
I think Marmalu fast rolled out into their top left area, softened them up, escaped, and then Jay came and cleaned up through the distraction. So big plays, looking to clean up even more. Caps caught out in lobby. Zilly able to just barely escape, has some respawners able to make sure the doors are locked down, but Mirrorman trying to poke around. It's going to be Marmalu that gets through instead and popped up into the scare, and a hair headshot from the side of bot mode, but Mirrorman trying to go up the distraction is going to find too much success, so Zilly will live to fight another day, Uber in tow, but no soldiers has not a whole lot of spam, and G6 might poke around at least to see if there's anything free in lobby.
Yeah, Logan already trapped off one of the shuttered doors. Kobe could be peeking lower here, trying to just make some space, but in the end, I think that the players there just want to peek bot mode out on sniper. Logan already sticking off the shutter. They're just going to peek open and see what they can get, because Froyotech realistically can't really see this that well. Oh, and they immediately get a pick, so we're already working well as Boblet's going to rotate. We do see they're trying to peek up. Fro just uses, and they get 2 immediately, and now Botwood's on sniper.
Yeah, they saw 2 kills to get and decided it was well enough to use, and Zilly actually got popped on as well, so someone came to him to use, but where did Jay come from? What the heck? I'm looking at the wrong area of the map, and I guess G6 was as well, because Jay did he just push from the right side from G6's perspective?
Yeah, I think he just like walked past someone. I really don't know, because Botwood had to get off sniper, right? So Botwood just ran to spawn. I think Jay just followed behind him and didn't shoot him.
Well,
probably something like that.
If we didn't see it and we have bird's eye view, then it makes sense G6 didn't see it either.
Jay's just a genius. What can you do? You just spawned on the enemy last.
Sometimes you just play spy in the scout class.
Yeah, works wonders. And so yeah, that's a Froyotech 5-1. So looks like your prediction was right again, Jerry. You're on a kind of a streak.
Oh, all part of the script.
Yeah, definitely. I had to misdirect people with my false prediction.
Yeah, good work, but good work from Froyotech. They got another victory under their belt against G6 on Metalworks, and gonna be clean slate in terms of not having any losses this season, at least so far. And G6 they put on a valiant effort. They showed signs of life, but there are way too many plays and little mistakes that Froyotech definitely capitalized on. So at least there's a silver lining in that you got around, you showed some promise, and you got at least, I don't want to use the term exposed, but you definitely got shown what some of your weaknesses you need to work on are when it comes to making sure you got the rest of your matches locked down in your favor.
Yeah. Gotta say, looking at the stats here, bot mode had a pretty good game. Although I don't know how much that damage is bot mode and how much of that is just like he played the sniper class. He hit I know he hit 1 headshot and he hit a 450 headshot, so that's 600 damage. So regardless, bot mode having a good game, 13-4 on scout when when you lose 2 rounds, not bad for a losing performance. So Caps, it looks like actually all the scouts had a good game in G6, and all the explosive classes had a sad time, which is kind of the opposite of what I'd expect on Metalworks.
Yeah, it can be kind of odd. Like, I guess it's also really weird to look at these stats in particular until you get to the combined, obviously, because 1, it's 2 rounds. 2, that kind of ended in like a back cappy type deal. It wasn't like a real back cap, but it's kind of a back cap. It's the cherry on top. They were already kind of on last, so there's like But we can go ahead and take, as they say. You can take a look at the combined to see what's up. Habib leading the charge for his team and Caps respectively as well. The scouts for G6 tied for kills, so the souls were definitely just being a distraction for the scouts to clean up, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, those are like process stats for soldier. Those are like I'm playing like Sunshine or Process and just dying over and over again kind of stats. I guess maybe Metalworks has also devolved into a scout map. Maybe who knows?
It's probably a testament to how many of these plays that both teams are doing actually worked, where it's all of a sudden like, oh no, the game plan has shifted. It's time to W, and you just have to go in and die, like I said before. So I guess then it can kind of make sense if things, and plus the round timer thing, if you don't really get to play slow and like spammy at all, given the situation of the timer plus the state of the game, you're not really going to get to farm a whole lot of damage. And your scouts are going to be active because there's always going to be something to do and a fight to take, and they don't just get to sit around and, oh, I have 160 DPM this match anymore,
Yeah, definitely, Habib also had a pretty solid game, I gotta say. 21-11, not bad. Especially, I mean, I feel like Habib's a very consistent player. He has some derpy moments occasionally, but overall, if you're gonna have a demo, you probably want Habib. So, just going to show again, it's hard to beat that guy at pretty much any map.
Yeah, Logan got put to the test a little bit, had a rough time trying to contribute to a whole lot of their mids. They definitely did a good job. Habib and Froyotech making sure he was shut down and wasn't really able to play the game. But we do have some Froyotech members funneling in, we can get him unmuted. And congratulations, guys, on your victory this match.
Yo, thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about Metalworks. It's been a bit since we've seen you guys play G6 on Metalworks. I think it was like 2 seasons. I feel like most of the time though, it's you guys that are like picking the map, or at least it's them banning it. But now it's the shoes on the other foot, and they're going ahead and picking it. Is that something that you ever really expected to see?
Well, based on the map pick ban order, I'm not surprised that it ended up on Metalworks because I think
Product
you
is
know
one of
they
them.
yeah they wanted to probably avoid that. So I feel like the map bans sort of were favorable for us. We ended up getting several maps we were very comfortable on, and we have played them on this map before, so we kind of knew what to expect. It is a good map for them. It's definitely a strong soldier map, and I think that their soldiers are a lot of times their key players if they want to do well. So, we were expecting them to be strong, and they started strong, but once we recalibrated, we did pretty well.
That's a good point. That after that first kind of initial really quick mid to last round, I assume there were some pretty big adjustments you had to make. Because after that it was relatively smooth sailing overall. You didn't drop around after that. So what kind of obviously you don't want to reveal too much. What kind of adjustments did you have to make after that first initial round?
Well, what happened in both of so we lost two crucial fights. The first one was the mid. We started with like a big advantage, and then we kind of like stood in no man's land, and they just all in on us. And then on the second fight, I think they dropped a player or something as well, but then they just ended up popping on us. So I think that we just kind of overstayed after getting our advantage instead of just sort of playing the long, sustainable game there. And
Yeah.
they ended up catching us out on both of those situations.
One thing I think that's interesting, if you look at the grand scheme of like you're in a unique situation where you're playing a match as a long like standing team versus another team that's had like a core roster for a long time. So you've you know butted heads a couple times on this map in particular, and in general. Overall, do you think there's like a shift in the way that you guys have to prepare um, against like G6 in particular as they change the roster over time, or is it kind of just another day at the office when it comes to pre-planning like what your game plan is, plan A, going into a map like Metalworks?
Another day in the office.
Clock in, clock out.
Clock in, clock out. 9 to 5, baby.
Would you agree that you focus more on yourself than the enemy in matches like these, or other way around?
I would say so. I think
For sure.
maybe like a season or two ago, it was particularly like important that we really focus on what the other teams are doing. Like Witness, I think, was in their prime form, and G6 was also hot. But I think right now we've grown to be very like familiar and comfortable with how they play, and so at this point we kind of just focus more on what we want to do, and things tend to go pretty well.
Habib, you had a pretty good showing on this map. It was pretty respectable. You popped off, got a lot of damage and a lot of kills. And I feel like a lot of demo man players either love the map or hate the map, because I guess depending on team it can be difficult, but it can also be a field day. Do you have any thoughts about the map in general, playing your class, and like what you do to find success, or even versus G6 in particular?
Yeah, of course. So one thing to notice about G6, I mean, as you said, Metalworks there is definitely a lot of like love-hate relationship with Metalworks as a demo, because you can actually do a lot, but on the flip side, you can actually get destroyed at the same time as well. Um, Granted, if you're able to read, I would say, where a team pushes and when they're about to push, and be able to lock out a choke, that is probably going to be the most single-handed like important thing that there is, because especially against a team like G6, they like to really just flood through a lot of chokes, and to be on top of having your ammo up, and even if like you don't have a choke trapped, as long as you're like kind of destroying them as they're trying to walk through, that's like very important. Just keeping constant spam and like constant zoning, honestly, on a map like Metalworks.
All right, well, we're getting near the halfway point in the season, so you've had your off-season time, your preseason planning, and then getting into a couple matches, and not only refamiliarizing yourselves with the team, but making sure that you're aware of all the the shticks and play styles of all your opponents this season. Now that you've reached a point where you've probably had a decent chance to play about everyone and get back to being informed, are you guys comfortable where you're at in the mid-season, or do you think you have still more to work on until it's time for playoffs?
Well, we're definitely feeling good. We had a very slow and sort of barren off season, so it took us a little bit of time to wake back up. But I think right now we're kind of back in our stride, and we're really focused on the upcoming LAN, not only for RGL's playoffs, but this month the Philly LAN. Um, that's only a couple weeks away, so we're already on the grind, making sure we're playing well and all that. Taking our practice seriously, etc. So we're feeling pretty good. We feel like we're well poised to do well. So there's some interesting teams out there, but a lot of them are either up and comer teams or it's kind of the G6 witness, which we've achieved a pretty good sort of track record against. So we feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to hear. Any other questions from you, Space?
No, I'm good.
All right, well, probably time to head out over to the shout-out phase. Any last shout before we go ahead and close out the stream, starting with Banny?
Sure. Hey, thanks guys for putting on the show. Shout out to G6 for a good match. Shout out to everyone who's trying their best this season, this summer season. It's a great time to be playing TF2. If you are looking for even more competitive TF2 to watch, be sure to tune in for the Philly LAN as mentioned. Come down in person. The more the merrier. It's going to be a pretty awesome event. So, yeah, come to that. And besides that, well played to my team. Looking forward to what's to come.
Anything from you, Habib?
Yeah, shout outs to you guys killing it as usual on the production and the casting. Shout outs to the viewers for watching the game. Shout outs to G6, GG's. And yeah, shout outs to all the game.
What about you, Space?
Yeah, shout out to the viewers, production. Shout out to both teams playing playing a good matchup. Shout out to apparently a new metal version of Metalworks I had to download to watch this. I did not know they updated it, so shout out to that too. I don't know what they changed.
Probably just minor quality of life thing. It's always good to make the maps refined. But I
Hopefully
guess
they
for
fix shadows.
yeah, true. I guess shout outs for me. Shout out to Slam House for the pre-show music. As always, shout out to all the people that are looking at merch. You can go ahead and check the shop.rgl.gg, and there'll be new designs as LAN approaches. The playoff LAN should be interesting to see the new designs that come up, and that's how long you have until they change. They are season. Also, make sure you grab what you see if it piques your interest at all. And I think that's gonna be pretty much it. Gonna have to wait until things get scheduled before you find out what other casts are going to be next week. But if you can't wait too long for more Sixes action, maybe you can be sated a bit by the Highlander that always happens Mondays at 9:30 EST. I don't think me and Space are going to be casted this time, though. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
It'll probably be like Help versus someone. Every week?
Yeah, every
no,
week, yeah.
not every week. No,
Every week, yeah.
You'll see who it is. It'll get scheduled, but it's always Monday 9:30. But for tonight, that'll be it for us. I've been Jarrett casting with Space Ghost with Dolphin on production. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Peace.
Later.